myself, Gautam Pandian, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Mi-Corporation. I've been here for about 5.5 years, helping with mobility solutions for various companies. And a little fun fact about me is avoid standing behind me at TSA lines at airport security if you're flying around in the U.S. because I have a lot of tablets and gadgets I carry with me, so invariably I get asked some questions. Also presenting with me today is Kevin Chang from FileHold, who's a partner program manager, who's been a part FileHold for 3 years. And fun fact that he wanted to put together today is Carpe Diem. So we'll ask him to say more about that later. Maybe he's a pirate in hiding, but either way, we'll find out. So here's your speakers for today. So we'll go ahead and introduce our company in case you're not familiar with us. Mi-Corporation is the Mobile Information Corporation. Been in the business for about 15 years in enterprise mobility. Throughout that entire time, we've been focused on helping companies make their mission-critical business process more optimized using mobile devices instead of using paper in order to make processes more streamlined. So we offer mobile forms products, mobile app products, and analytics, dashboarding products, all of which are geared to help optimize that business process. All of our products are meant to be very flexible, working on almost any device, collecting any type of data. And our mobile forms product is on version 10 right now, so quite mature through many different iterations in the marketplace as well. We work closely with industry leaders like Intel, Microsoft, Panasonic, and a variety of other folks, motion computing. And we're pleased to have 10 patents to our name, showing some real intellectual property and leadership in what we've done in this space for the last 15 years. So that's a quick introduction to who Mi-Corporation is. We're also pretty well defined by the kind of customers that we serve across the world. Organizations like Sutter Health, major healthcare system in the United States, to U.S. Department of Transportation, the Kent Group in Canada, AT&T in the large telecom space, a variety of different folks. Everyone's got too much paper. Everyone's trying to streamline their process, mobilize their process, and become more efficient. So as a result, you'll see a pretty broad spectrum of customers here. The kind of customer problems we solve for those organizations, we help them get their employees to be more productive because they're not hampered with all that paper. So that's the very first thing that these solutions will help you address. The processes become more efficient. They're not as paper-driven and redundant as they are used to being. A lot of times when you're dealing with all that paper, there's a lot of manual data entry, printing, mailing, scanning, shipping, storing, and all that is expensive. So costs are certainly reduced when you use these solutions. And when information lives on paper, it's not reported to the people it needs to go to as quickly as it needs to be. So in being able to port all that to mobile devices, information reporting becomes way more quick and progressive. Data accuracy certainly goes up with the use of this technology because these mobile devices can check for accuracy of information as you're entering it. And finally, the desire to use current technology for better customer service and turnaround makes a big difference as well. So all of that implies that these are the kind of problems we help our customers address using mobile devices and using some of our technology products in conjunction with FileHold ECM solutions. So if you're like most organizations today, you've got a lot of paper floating around. And if you've got a lot of paper forms, usually they go through a life cycle that looks like this. A piece of paper is designed or printed or photocopied from a photocopy. It's then sent out to people that complete it, send it back to other folks that scan it, fax it, type it into a database, and put away that piece of paper. Well, there's a lot of steps in that process. And an association in the industry called AIM did a white paper a couple of years ago and came up with this number, $4.95 US on average to process all that paper. That's pretty expensive and cumbersome. If you use mobile data capture technology, you can design the form electronically, deploy it electronically, complete it, and send it straight to your databases. You're going to cut out about 80 to 90% of the cost in the process, and you're going to achieve a lot of the other efficiencies that we've talked about already. So there's a very strong business case for adopting this kind of technology in the front end of your business process. And let me show you some real results from customers that we worked with for 15 years. One of our customers is producing 100 times more accurate data than they used to before. One of our customers has taken a process down from 20 steps to 5 steps. Another one is showing a savings of about $8,000 a month from using tablets and our technology. So clearly, making your business process mobile on the front end and removing paper from those equations can produce significant efficiencies. So we hope to bring similar results to your organization as well. Specifically, the products I'm going to cover today, the MyForms product is one of our core flagship products. It is a mobile forms platform that helps you collect data electronically on any mobile device or desktop or laptop or any other kind of device as well. So quite simply, you can build a form application using it, however simple or complex that is, deploy it to any type of device, put the right business rules and validation logic on there to make sure everything is correct, and all that works even offline, disconnected from the internet. You can then take all that data and communicate it to any type of back-end system through 90 different APIs and web services in our system. And we have integration set up with FileHold ECM for even easier management of all the documents you're going to generate from here as well. And you'll see that in the demo today. So how all this works from an architecture standpoint is you've got all these devices you're trying to leverage today, and we allow you to do that. Starting with your paper forms or an electronic version like Word, Excel, or PDF, you can put that through our design tool. That's a bit like PowerPoint, drag and drop with some scripting options. So you can design all that yourself. You can work with one of our authorized partners. You can work with us directly, and we will help you implement the kinds of e-forms or mobile apps that you need. And all that can then be deployed to our server product that's responsible for version control, user management, workflow, and authentication. And that server can sit in the cloud. That server can sit on your own data center premises as well. That server can also run .NET script code and reach into other systems like your FileHold ECM system or backend databases and pre-populate forms or documents to different devices. And you could be completely offline as well after that point. You could even do some pre-population while you're offline. And we'll talk about how that's possible as well. So we support this spectrum of devices, and you have a lot of choices then as you can move from one to the other. Once you've collected information on that device, it stays local to the device, encrypted, and then once you're connected, it syncs all the data back to our server product. That puts it into a workflow approval process where a manager can review it and see if everything is correct. If they see any problems with anything, they can make some corrections, send it back to the data collector, and that can go back and forth. And ultimately, all that data can be exported in pretty much any format to anywhere it needs to go, including our own database product that has some analytics capabilities, including to one of your enterprise databases or your FileHold ECM instance. So that's in a nutshell how the system is set up from an architecture standpoint. And we do have an offline data replicator module that sits in our server as well that is capable of fetching sets of data from your backend database and putting it on a SQLite database on the device. So you can then truly be offline and have all the information you need offline for pre-fill purposes, for looking up the last inspection you did at a location, for any of those kinds of purposes. So being offline no longer requires you to compromise in any way. So to summarize what we were just talking about, having no connection is no problem at all. Part of our bread and butter is to work with a lot of organizations that have employees in very remote parts of the world with no internet connectivity. Our software will store your data offline securely, pre-populate data from your SQLite database and our replicator, and all that means that you don't have to worry about having or not having connectivity. This is available with two of our products, our MyForms Enterprise product as well as our Enterprise app platform, which we'll talk about in a second. So mobile forms is not the only thing that we offer to our customers to help them optimize their business process. We offer a database product as well that easily allows you to set up database tables based on SQL where you can store all the information that these forms are going to generate. There's 9 out-of-the-box charts and graphs that will automatically help you understand the value of all the data you're collecting and analyze it. So I'll show you a screenshot or two about this in a second. It makes the whole analytics process very easy for the information you're collecting. We also offer a My Enterprise Apps product, which is a server-based middleware technology that helps you get your app development done in weeks, not months or years. And the reason being, it manages all these back-end aspects of mobile app projects, such as user management, integrations with other systems, including Active Directory, workflow, business logic, syncing, security. All that is handled by our server-based middleware, so you can focus on the app, UI, and design, use whatever open source tools you want, and hook up to our middleware to take care of all of those things for mobile app projects as well. So both of these are other products that we offer as well. And to show you a screenshot or two from one of them, this is an example of our dashboard or a reporting product. So if you are doing an inspection, for instance, you can flow all that data back into this product, either hosted or in the cloud or on premises. It'll then produce 9 charts that look like this, that show you exactly what kind of inspections you're doing, what are the totals, who is doing how many inspections, where were they done on a map. You can have all kinds of analytics like this set up in a very easy way, and then create new charts and graphs if you wanted, create some new reports if you wanted, and all that helps you analyze the power of big data that you're now generating more efficiently and productively. So at the end of the day, we call the spectrum here what, so what, and now what. Meaning the first what is what are you doing in your business? You're collecting information from the field, from the hospital, from the manufacturing environment, from different places. You could be collecting information with our Forms product or with our app product. All that information can then flow into our database product that helps you analyze what's going on. It gives the executives and managers the visibility into what kind of things are happening in the business and allows them the chance to make the kind of good decisions in their business that are data-driven and assist them with being able to articulate effectively where resources need to be allocated, where there's problems, and then troubleshoot them. So with all those things together, your business process will become far more optimized because you now have information available quicker, cleaner, and more productively, and your staff are not dealing with all that paper. You've eliminated a lot of cost in the process. You know what's going on in the different parts of the organization, so you can then affect the right kind of change to optimize your process. So now you understand how our products fit into the ecosystem of optimizing your business process. I thought I would spend a moment or two on discussing user adoption. When it comes to mobility solutions, we've noticed for quite some time that 10% of the risk in the project is really around the technology itself. 90% is around user adoption. So user adoption is really everything for these solutions. The reason being, you're asking someone to move away from the paper they've been used to for decades, potentially, and we're very comfortable with, to using a mobile device to do things. And so there's a lot of change involved. So the best way to overcome that risk is to make your users enthusiastic. Help them understand why the project is being done, what kind of benefits it's going to bring to the entire organization. Pick the right solution that's going to be user-friendly enough for them to use without a lot of training and hand-holding. Get the right involvement from stakeholders so they support the project at the executive level, at IT and business units. Put the right training programs in place to help folks get up and learn how to use the system. Put the right incentives in place, both from a competition standpoint, perhaps, to encourage people to adopt, but also from the standpoint of helping people with how's it going to make their life easier. If you don't have to spend 20 minutes every day going and looking up some piece of information or having to type it in manually into a spreadsheet, you might value that 20 minutes back in your day. You might value that time to go do something else. So having a variety of incentives like that is useful, and making sure you're building a win for users is useful too. And then repeat all that so users become very aware of it. And then when you finish the project, measure the return on investment and the success and report it far and wide to everybody, feed it back to everybody that was involved, so they can then have the momentum to invest in other projects and optimize other processes in the business as well. So here's some best practices that we've learned from 15 years of doing this. We hope it's useful for you as well as you go forward and implement these solutions. And keep in mind, when you work with a vendor partner, that they have the top service and support metrics. It's very important for your mission-critical process that the software will continue to work for you. And if you have any problems, your vendor is right on top of it, fixing those problems as quickly as possible to make sure that you have no interruption. And so make sure you assess your vendor support metrics, ask for testimonials and references, and make sure the kind of service and support and expertise and experience they bring to the table is just as good as the software and the product and the bells and whistles and features and functions as well. So as it goes from there, you've learned to manage your mobile business process using one of our software products. At that point, the information will get transferred over to a content management repository like FileHold's ECM system. So at that point, you are able to effectively manage all that information on those documents, and that's going to help you be more effective at that part of the ecosystem as well. So I'm going to invite Kevin to take over from FileHold and to give us a quick overview of how all that information is then managed in FileHold ECM.
All right. Thank you very much, Gautam. Does my audio coming okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. My name is Kevin Chang. I'm with FileHold Systems. Thank you so much for joining us today on this joint webinar to give you an idea of how we can mobilize our business processes and with the concept of best of breed, how we can take care of all the forms that is being processed from the MyForm system in the front end. And in this case, FileHold will be serving pretty much like the ECM back office, where we can store securely of all the forms that you just entered and set up all the retention policies, automatically initiate workflow or manually initiate the workflow, so the whole process still continues going on. Right? So on the other hand, the FileHold also has the capability to serve as your front-end database, document repository system. So basically, you can manage all kinds of documents other than the forms. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. All right, so moving on. This is our world today. So basically, you have all kinds of different documents, whether they are electronic forms already, or they're coming as regular mail or fax or whatever ways you need to either scan them and put them into the database or put them into an archive boxes and so on and so forth. So within those chaotic world, FileHold serves as your centralized document library and repository that securely and centralizedly store your documents. So whether they are electronic format already, or they are paper, they need to be scanned, or they're boxes and boxes of papers that you don't bother to scan them, we can track and audit them all the way. So these are the some of the business problems that we hear from a customer. For example, I can find anything on Google, but I couldn't find a proposal I just wrote. And I have got so many different versions of the contract. Who has the latest version is very, very confusing. And there are so many papers, and we want to get out of this trap of real estate. It's costing us too much money. And there are many people work on the same policies. Why can we share the work so avoid the duplication, not to mention the chaos of everybody managing and editing the same document at the same time? So everybody can access my file, so I have no security. I want to make sure that only the authorized person can see my documents, can access my documents. In some of the cases, this is exactly the situation where we work with Michael to streamline the forms processing. So when people start designing and creating their forms from the very beginning, start using those forms, fill out those forms, and then they need to have a very secure, centralized back-end database to store them, and also apply their workflow, apply their retention policy, for the entire life cycle of all the documents. And also we've seen a lot of customers facing the compliance issues. So in FileHold system, we've helped many customers to be compliant with many different regulations, such as ISO, or in some other cases in the pharmaceutical industry, we have 21 CFR 11. And generally speaking, most of the people need to be compliant with Sarbanes-Oxley and so on. So those are all the areas that FileHold can help you. And also, don't forget, a lot of times we forget things. We need to have a good system to give us reminders and making sure that all the documents are properly processed. For example, if I have any contract I need to review. And more importantly, a typical scenario is in the AP environment. When invoice come in, you don't want to face the late payment fee. But on the other hand, what you want to do is you want to take advantage of some of the vendors who give you additional discount if you can process those advanced payments. Each branch office has their own file. So again, if you're running operation with multiple office locations, you don't have to do those needless duplications on those documents where all the documents and contents are securely stored in a centralized library. The most important thing from what we can see over the years is that you want to have a good policy to maintain your business continuity. This is very, very important, and of course, not to mention how to protect your intellectual property. All right, so for over the past almost 10 years, we have over 400 customers. Actually, I think the number should be updated to 450 at this time. The total registered user of FileHold are over 16,000. So these are just a few of our customers. For instance, the Department of Defense, DSAT. In the UK, we have Royal Air Force Benevolent Funds, and in different parts of the world, we have different customers in different industries, whether government, financial sectors, manufacturing, education, natural resources, and so on. All right, so as you can imagine, FileHold is an enterprise-grade document management software. So with a limitation of time, we'll do everything we can to provide you as much information as possible, but it's very likely that we can only touch on the tip of the iceberg. I welcome everyone with further interest of FileHold system to contact us. We can set up another private demo with you to go over everything you need to know and to make sure that FileHold can solve your business problem. All right, so part of the things we're going to touch on today is workflow. So for instance, when the forms is being created in my form systems, after people fill out those forms, then they're sent to FileHold system. So once they landed in FileHold system, a workflow could be automatically triggered and initiated or manually initiated, depending on how you want to set it up. So when you set up those workflow, our workflow allows you to have up to 20 activities. Each activity could be either review the document or approve the document. Each activity can also have unlimited user being assigned to these activities. In addition to our standard desktop client or web client or Office integration, we also provide you with, at no extra cost, a mobile client. The mobile client, we do not require you to download app, which is a little bit work for you. In our mobile client, we don't use app. So we basically use browser HTML5. What that means to you as the end user is that all you need to do is bookmark the URL to access the FileHold database. You don't have to download anything, install anything, and you can use any devices that come with the browser. This means to you like iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows Phone, or BlackBerry. Moving on, in our workflow, we also have a dashboard which conveniently gives you the idea of what's going on for the workflow at this time. Our design screen of workflow gives you some graphical view where you can create different activities. Each activity looks like a cloud. In a cloud, you can actually set up additional permissions and or additional configurations for each activities. We can also customize your web client screen. This is a very typical screen where we can change the logo to yours, and we can change the color scheme to your company colors. And also, we can add some additional information, such as those instructions, to tell the users when they log in what steps they can do to utilize the system. FileHold also has tons of third-party integration tools, starting from the built-in standard feature of Office integration, where you can access FileHold directly from those Office applications such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Visio, OneNote, and Outlook email. In addition to that, we have a couple of out-of-the-box integration. What I mean by that is it doesn't require any implementation. In fact, it takes about a few minutes to install the driver, then you're good to go. For example, FastFind allows you to quickly search FileHold from any third-party application. Just use a simple hotkey. So for instance, you're in the accounting system, you're looking at one of the customer's file, you want to bring all the related documents in FileHold to here. So you just need to highlight anything, for example, customer name, customer code, or whatever information that you have in the third-party system, and search into FileHold. Print to FileHold is very similar to print to PDF function in that, in addition to print to PDF, what happens is you're on the record, you click on File, Print, you find the printer property, which is called Send to FileHold. So essentially, this is just a virtual printer that you can click and add the document directly into FileHold. So what happens after that is when you click on Send to FileHold, FileHold window shows up and just asks you which folder you want to add it into FileHold. So adding document becomes very, very easy. Moving on, we also have Active Directory synchronization as well as SharePoint integration. So for those of you who are using SharePoint for other purposes such as collaboration, web content management, publishing, as well as some wiki, but you may find from time to time the document management function is not so powerful and sometimes very costly to develop. Then you can use FileHold to integrate as a web part. So now you can enjoy the benefit from both sides of the world. In addition, if your company requires some more in-depth integration with any other third-party software to meet with your business processes, we provide you with a fully documented web services API at no extra cost. This is a quick overview of how FileHold could be set up in your organization. So basically, FileHold could be installed on premises. FileHold could also be installed in the cloud. Although we do not directly engage with cloud services, but the benefit for the customer is you get to pick and choose whatever data center or service provider that you prefer. For example, Rackspace, Amazon, Google, Windows Azure, or any local data center that you want to install FileHold. Forms processing, this is actually one of the main things we are going to talk about today, to how to collect the forms that's being filled out from the MyForms systems, and we can then take it from there and to process those forms, for instance, by manually initiating your workflow or automatically initiating your workflow. And through the process, we will capture all the metadata or some of the metadata depending on how you want to collect the information. You may have 100 different fields in the form, but essentially you only want to take up 5 out of those forms to make it more effective. So we can all set up that way. In FileHold system, support is a very, very important issue for us. And so far, for the past 9 years, our customers are being very happily supported by our support team. So in that, we have a very convenient health checker. This health checker actually has more than 300 different small instances will go into your server and to detect your server and bring back meaningful log. It doesn't just give you some arbitrary error window just saying this is not working. No. What we do is we go into your system, we look into very detail and bring back results to you. When you look at those screens, green obviously looks good. Yellow just gives you some warning or information. When you see those red, you don't want to see just an arbitrary error message. You want to see more information. So when you look into the log, it actually gives you a lot of information. So this makes the whole support process very, very easily, and both sides of the world, from a customer and our support facilities, are both benefiting from here. System security. So FileHold supports all kinds of different system security, single point logon. So when we integrate with your Active Directory, we have web services security, SSL, if you want to encrypt your communication through the web client. We have session security services, template level securities. We have a structure level of security in FileHold. In addition to the library security, we also have 12 predefined user roles that you can assign to individual users or groups. And of course, Active Directory synchronization is one of the things that we provide to our customers. FileHold has tons of reports and audit logs. So starting from the system audit, we basically track every activities in the systems, and even down to a very small activity, such as if I open a document, just view the document, didn't do anything, that activity is recorded in the document usage log. And we send out the report in the non-editable format, so keep the security all the way. We are also FIPS compliant. We work with SQL reporting, so if you have SQL administrators on board who knows the SQL reporting pretty well, once they know more about FileHold database structure, the sky is your limit if you want to create any kind of report. CSV export is all over FileHold system. Whenever you search on any folders or search on any documents, you can right-click and export all the results into a CSV for further manipulation or further reporting functions. Okay, so register management and archiving is one of the main things in FileHold systems. So we basically support all kinds of different retention policies where you can set up your archive and disposition. In addition to that, you can also set up some user-defined events. In addition, you have your alerts and reminders, track all the physical documents. If you look at the photos here, if you have boxes and boxes of documents that you don't want to scan, we can label them and we can track them using our offline document. Version control is one of these essential features of FileHold system to make sure that throughout the document life cycle, all the versions are tracked. And we have full text search in the search capability. Not only the full text search, we also can search on metadata. As you can see down there, we do legal hold and the whole thing. All right, so that's basically information about FileHold system. So let's start our demo. So in our demo today, Gautam is going to take us to the form systems to show you how to use the My Form system to generate forms and fill out the form. And then once the form is filled out, Gautam is going to pass the buck to me to show you when the document is in the FileHold repository, how we manage them. All right? So Gautam, if you are ready, I'm going to switch presenter to you. All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're the driver now.
Here. Excellent. I appreciate it. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you've been finding some useful information from the presentation so far. Now we're ready to wrap up a live demonstration for you. So what you'll see, the first thing I'm going to show you today is the use of our Windows client application, which is working on a Surface Pro tablet. So Kevin, can you confirm you're seeing this coming across your screen okay?
Yep, I can see your screen and your audio coming just fine.
Excellent. So you'll see when you open up this application, you've got a variety of different options for forms that you have access to. So based on the user profile.
Sorry to interrupt you, Gautam. I think I'm seeing this. Are you using dual monitor?
I am.
Yeah, I'm seeing your Outlook. I think you may need, you may want to share another screen, another monitor. I mean.
Too many screens
yep.
going around. There we go. How about that? Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
So too many screens going around there. So too much technology sometimes, huh? Okay. Well, here we are. So this is our Windows client application. So you'll see when I open it up, I have access to all kinds of forms, right? A certificate of training form, a safety form, an art form, whatever that is. I've got background investigations, loan applications, skilled nursing visit notes. I've got all kinds of things, right? For today, the purpose of today, we'll pretend we're a field worker, and let's pretend we're using a field maintenance and inspection report. So what I'm going to do is scroll down and find this form over here. It's called a field maintenance and inspection report, and you'll see you can actually go ahead and hide and delete and mask different things, and different users will have access to different forms. So when I go ahead and open up this form application, you'll notice it presents me an
sorry
entire
to interrupt you, Gautam. You may want to move the GoToMeeting panel aside, because I think the GoToMeeting panel is blocking some of the. Yeah.
Got it.
I think it's better now. Yeah, go ahead.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Well, good. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I can't see my own screen, so it's good. Good to know that. So now I've opened up this field maintenance inspection report. So let's pretend I work for HVAC service company. So first thing I need to do as a representative is I need to figure out where I'm going, right? So I'll pick a location. Let's say we're going to Target. When I do that, notice how it's populating all these pieces of data. So it's automatically populating based on what you pick where you're going to go. It's telling you the job number, the work ID. It's giving you all these pieces of information. I can pick who I am. My name is Paul Harvey. I can pick where I'm going. Let's say I hit Google Maps and say go to the map. It's actually going to tell me how to get to that location. So that's a useful thing. And so you can use the GPS on the device. You can do all those sorts of things. You can get the GPS coordinates. When you get to that location, you can actually prove that you are on site at that location. When you get to that location, you can also start tracking your time. So it starts to actually go ahead and figure out what your time is. And I can use a barcode scanner to do this, or I can go ahead and just pull this down from a drop-down menu. And let's say I'm looking at an air filter. If I do that, it's going to pop up this image that I can then pop up and then annotate on top of that and figure out what's going on here. So you've got different ways of interacting with data and pulling and pushing rich data, not just checkboxes and signatures, but a photograph and GPS coordinates and all these other things. Our software can also automatically detect if you're in touch mode, keyboard mode, handwriting mode, whatever mode you're in. So if I use my finger and I zoom in on this form, notice how I can zoom in. I can zoom in and zoom out of the form and pan around very easily. I can flip over from page to page using my finger very easily. I can just flip over from and pull up the keyboard as well if I wanted to. And so if I touch with the keyboard, the touch keyboard comes up. If I'm using my keyboard that's actually on the device, you'll see I can go ahead and type and the keyboard doesn't come up. So it automatically detects what mode you're in. I could also write with the stylus on the screen, go into a handwriting mode, and then be able to write notes that just convert into computer recognized text. Notice that conversion is pretty good. And so there's all kinds of ways to interact with the system. Let's say I wanted to add another whole appliance here. I can hit this little button on the right, and that's going to jump me to another page. This page is asking me, so what are we doing today? I guess we're replacing this part. I can take a picture real quick. And if I take a picture, first thing it's going to do is going to show you a picture of me. Looks like I got half of me in that picture, and I can annotate on top of that. Or I can say, you know what, let's go pick something that actually makes more sense. How about this car crash? Even though I don't know why they'd be investigating a car crash. But if we do that, we pick it up, we make some annotations, you'll see you can get all kinds of rich data from wherever you want and work on it. I can annotate a floor plan. Again, you've seen me make some notes already. I can keep that as a free-form converted note, and then I can put all that data back in this main page. So you'll notice the rich experience that you're going through. You can also pull from databases and say, you know what, I'm looking at a connector. I got 10 of these, and that's going to do the math for you automatically here. I can say I got a condenser, 20 of these. That's going to go through and do some math for you as well. And then I can stop tracking my time. That's going to apply a labor rate and time and add that to the calculation as well. So there's all kinds of ways to go through and finish this. When I hit the finish button, it's going to tell me, well, you can't do it because you have mistakes on the form. Well, what am I missing? I'm quite simply missing the signature. So I go ahead and sign it. That takes care of one problem. I ask the customer to sign it. That takes care of another. Then I can add attachments to it. I can print it. I can do a number of things. I can hit the finish button. And ultimately, I believe I have an Outlook interface here that may not be quite set up, but it's going to kick off all that data to wherever it needs to go in pretty much any format. So all of that is set up to indicate it's a very intuitive experience in going ahead, filling out one of those form applications. I did also want to briefly touch on how you can use the same sort of concept on perhaps a smaller device. So you saw how this works on perhaps a tablet device, which happens to double as my laptop. But if I pull up, and what I'm going to do is to open up this application, that's going to let me share my, my actual screen of my smartphone with you. So there it is. Okay, so now I'm going to open up my iPhone. I happen to have an iPhone 5. Don't make fun of me for being outdated. I plan to get a new one pretty soon. And if I go ahead and share my screen onto your desktop, you'll start to see my iPhone screen. I can open up our app. And what you'll see is you have the same concept of all these forms available on this app. Now, let's say we take another example. How about a motor vehicle accident report, for instance? Right? If I open that up, you're going to get an entirely different user interface because these are much smaller devices. You can't have a whole paper-like display like I showed you before, but you can still have all those rules checking for accuracy for what you're trying to complete. You can still have a variety of other things taking place. Close it, finish it. I can go ahead, pick from an accident scene, populate all the data, pick the accident time, do a little diagram of what happened. There's my car, my house, and there's a car crashing into it. So you'll see my lovely artistic skills there. You know, I could put a tree there too if I wanted to, just to be funny. And so the idea behind it is now you've got an interface that's entirely different, that's doing very different things, but still allowing you to design this form once and to be able to fill it on pretty much any type of device that you need to. So pretty powerful. I can turn on the camera on this device as well. Take a picture of my computer here. So all kinds of information is being gathered in all kinds of devices. And when you finish that, you go ahead and say, you know what, I want to save it for now. I'll come back to it later. Let's go ahead and close it. And then you return to that entire screen again. So it shows you can do all kinds of things from a timesheet to a skilled nursing visit note to on any of these different devices. So the power of all that is quite intuitive experience and very seamless across devices on a variety of different devices. Now, in terms of actually going ahead and designing one of these, our interface for actually designing this is extremely simple and intuitive as well. So I won't go into the server-side details today. We won't have time for that. But we'll take a quick look at, say, that motor vehicle accident report. How simple was it to make all that magic happen? Well, here's the actual form template. And here's our design studio that helps you actually make all this happen. So what you'll notice is you've got all kinds of widgets on the left-hand side of your screen. There's a barcode scanning widget, GPS tracking widget, voice recording, photo capture, or even something as simple as a checkbox. So let me pick the checkbox. Let me drop it on the form over here. It pops up. It says what kind of device are you working with. But I can make that agnostic as well, throw some values on there, and there's my checkbox. As simple as that. Done. Pretty much anybody can do it, and very simple to do. I could also import from a PDF document using a third-party tool we support to bring in a PDF or Word or other document to create the form in our system. We could also go ahead and build some validation logic. We might say this field must not be empty. We could say if this field over here is empty, then this field must not be empty. And while we're at it, this field must be the same value as this field over here. So you'll see you can get pretty fancy using all of that without doing any programming at all. We could also open up a couple of scripting windows in VB.NET and JavaScript to do some more focused customization and programming when necessary. And when you're done with all that, you can decide how do you want to extract all the data from these. Well, you might say, give me a CSV file, give me a PDF document. Where do you want the PDF document to go? Client-side, server-side, what pages do you want to export? Do you want to create an Outlook email with an attachment, send it to our server software for the whole workflow approval process, or DBC dump into a database? Or let's say you pick a CSV format. You could even map field by field from this field over here to this field in your database, or in our database product for that matter. So very intuitive experience, everything from the simple to the complex. It's all kind of managed here very effectively. So with that, I'll turn this back over to Kevin. He's going to show you once you take one of those field service reports, so we just completed, what happens to it from there in terms of managing that document and processing it and taking it from there. I hope you've seen how simple it can be to move your paper process to a mobile device and gain significant efficiencies.
All right, thank you very much, Gautam. Does my audio coming okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
All right, great. And my screen is on the last page of our contact information. That look good?
That looks fine too.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to minimize my PowerPoint for now and just opening up FileHold system. So very quickly, just give you an idea of how to access FileHold system. So there are a few icons here. So you can access FileHold through the desktop client, which is a very small program that's only about 7 megabytes. You can install on any Windows platform, such as XP, Windows 7, or Windows 8. You can also access FileHold through the what we call web client. And the web client is just a browser, so you can use either Internet Explorer, Firefox, Google, or if you have Macintosh computer, you can use the Safari browser that comes with it. Now, you can also use the mobile client. The mobile client, like I mentioned earlier, is very simple, light. It doesn't require any app. Just use the browser and access whenever the FileHold database is at. So, and of course, you can access from the Office client, which is just the integration that allows you to search FileHold, add document to FileHold, check in document to FileHold, and participate workflow in from your Office application. So one of the easiest way to find the document that Gotham just entered is through, if you're remotely outside of the office, you can quickly use your phone, whether iPhone, iPad, smart, Android, whatever phone, right? So I can do a quick search if I know that Paul works on this job, so I can put in his name, do a quick search. There we go. That's the inspection report, which is just been loaded in FileHold repository. So some of the information is being captured, such as the client side. Paul went to Target and did the fix, and the job numbers and the work order numbers and so on. All the information are collected. So very, very easily and convenient way to search and find the document from your mobile devices. Now, if you're in the office, you use the regular desktop application. Sorry, I apologize. I just been timeout. It's been a little while. So you can also access the desktop client to find the document, search the document in a very convenient way. You can do advanced search if you know a lot of those information. You can quickly jump to the advanced search right there if you're looking for an inspection report and you know that the job is done. You don't want to risk typo. So you can actually look into a list, right? So in here, Paul is right here. So if you want to pull up any job that Paul's working on, the job is right there. So to find this, the forms that just being passed through the my form system into FileHold library is very, very convenient. There are many ways to look at them. And of course, those metadata fields are all captured, and every single one of them searchable. So if you say, hey, I'm not only searching for Paul, I want to also look at Paul did this job in Target or any other places, right? You can do all those kind of different search right there. As you can see in the form, and I mentioned this earlier, so in the form that my form system designed, you may have 100 fields or 50 fields. You don't need to capture every one of them. You just need to selectively to capture those important information, and also those information can help you quickly and easily find the document. For instance, I want to definitely know who the service engineer is and the date and the place. So with those few metadata fields, I can pinpoint to those documents very, very quickly. All right? So this tells you how quickly and easily I can take the document take those forms from the MyForm system into FileHold. And from there, I can automatically initiate workflow or manually initiate workflow. One of the beauty of FileHold system is that you can start your work right from the search results. See here, when I search something, I find that document, I can immediately start my work. I don't have to go to the document location to kick start. I can start right here. So when I want to, if I want to manually initiate the workflow, I just click on that. The workflow template that's been previously created will show up. So this is where I can have the opportunity to look at the workflow template if I need to rename this job, because when I set up the workflow template, it's a generic name. I want to have something specific. I can say job at Target, right? Something like that. So I can make changes to that, and then I can look at each and every step and make sure that there's nothing that I need to modify. And depending on who created the templates, you can decide whether or not to let the people make changes when they initiate, or you can set the business rule and say, no, you cannot make changes. you have to follow company policy or you have to follow whatever rules of this workflow. So in this case, I've been given some leeway so I can make some changes if I want to add additional persons into this review, or if I want to add additional conditions, I can do so, right? So when you finish reviewing everything here, then you click OK to initiate this workflow, right? So once you initiate this workflow, click here. The workflow is now initiated. So a couple things will happen. First of all, when you go to your email, the notification will start be sending to the first person in the role that is going to do the first task. The first task could be review, could be approved, depending on how you design your workflow. So a workflow notification will look similar to this one coming through your email. So that's the first area that you will get notification of something is coming. The second thing what happen is if you come into FileHold on your review and approval area, your job is just assigned right here. So you can see the job being loaded into My Task area. And also, there will be one more entry on your calendar. So if you go to your FileHold calendar, you can see the jobs being assigned to the day right here. That's the job doing right here. So if you follow the link, it would actually take you to the job in the My Task area. Okay, so very, very convenient and very easy to navigate through those workflow. And starting from here, you can tell FileHold to open a document, or you can show the document to you, or you just right-click and start opening the document. So this is where I mentioned again, you don't have to go anywhere. You stay at where you are and start the work right there. So if you want to open the document, take a look at the job that Gotham just created. I can see the job right there. I can review it. I can submit my review. So what happens next is if you finish your reviewing, you just submit your review, click here, and put your comments here. When you click OK, or before you do so, you may have some additional supporting document that you want to attach. You can do so as well. So once you click OK, this job will be moved to the next person. So very simple concept and very simple idea. In some other cases, you may need to approve a document. In this case, as you can see, I've got multiple documents in my workflow task. One of them is the main document. I've also got a couple of supporting documents. So you get the concept of FileHold. You can have a single document being reviewed or approved, or you can have multiple documents being reviewed or approved, and you can add multiple supporting documents at the same time. So if you are going to approve the document, the same thing, you can open the document just by double-clicking or right-click open. And then once you finish your review, you can either right-click or you can click on Submit Approval right on top. And of course, if you are going on a business trip or you know you're going to take vacations, you can dedicate the task to somebody else to help you, right? So from here, you can submit the approval. Similar screen shows up. You put your comments. If you need to attach any supporting document, you can do so. But one more thing you need to do, you need to make a decision. You need to say whether I approve or do not approve, or I'm waiting for a few more supporting documents before I can make my decision, right? So once I make my decision, I click OK. Now you have to enter the password. You have to prove who you say you are, okay? So very simple, straightforward process for by the time the forms being passed into FileHold library, you search and find the form, and you initiate the workflow. And of course, like I mentioned, you can manually initiate the workflow, or you can automatically initiate the workflow. Let me show you quickly how I do this. So I go to Admin, I go to my document schema, and then go to my inspection. This is why I manually initiate the workflow, because I didn't tell FileHold to automatically start my workflow. Very simple idea, right? So I hope you don't mind. I just jumped right into the forms and talk about the forms processing and so on. And of course, if you have any retention policy applied to the form, all the retention policy will be automatically applied to those forms. Okay, so now let's quickly talk about FileHold system in general. So to give you an idea of how FileHold was designed, how we can help you manage your documents. So first of all, let's come back to FileHold system here. When you start looking at FileHold system, the first impression I hope you have, just as many other people, is it's a very simple, clean screen. If you compare the Office applications such as PowerPoint that we're using now, there are so many different tabs and icons, sometimes very confusing, but most of the time we don't use them, right? So when you come in here to FileHold, it's very clean screen. It doesn't have those buttons to confuse you. On the top, depending on how you start, you can start from searching right away to the top right-hand side. This is a very similar to Google or Bing style search box. You can put in any keyword or key phrase and start searching, right? To the left, you start with your library. So in the library, it looks very similar to your Windows share folder system, but we have much more power, less confusion. Okay, so when you start looking at the library, the first level, you go down to the cabinet. So in the cabinet, you have door. In the door, you have folder. All right, so eventually, you will see a whole bunch of documents being stored in the folder. So for those of you who have never used a document management system before, you already know how to navigate through FileHold system through those years of using Windows applications. So back to the library, this is also where our security resides. So first of all, the reason why I can see all the cabinets when I come in is because I log in as a system administrator if you follow my mouse pointer. So to the top right-hand side, this tells you who you are, right? So when I come in here, I can see all the cabinets, but if I come in here as a regular user rather than system administrator, my permission dictates where I can go. So just because I can come to the library doesn't mean I can see all the cabinets. So you have to be a member of the cabinet so you can see it. The next level is on the folder. So just because I can come to the cabinet doesn't mean that I can see all the folders. Once again, you need to have security permission to see so. And the next level of security is on the, in the folder on the document themselves. When I come into this folder, I may be seeing 50 documents. You come in here, you see 1,000 documents. That's because of the membership on the document schema, document type. Okay, so one of the things you look at the document, the folder, is that FileHold doesn't convert your document. If they come in as a PDF, they're a PDF. If they come in as Office application, they're Office application. So the easiest way to open a document just by double-clicking. You can open a document in the native application, or you can right-click and see all the list of activities you can do. So you can open the document in the viewer, reorder page, make a copy, check in, check out. This is also the essential feature of FileHold system to help you control your document and the version control as well. The workflow allows you to initiate the workflow manually or add the document into any existing workflow. Metadata. This is where we use to define, classify your document. So basically, this is also the building block, basic building block of your system when you start get started. It's not very difficult to get started in FileHold system. First of all, you just need to figure out what types of document that you're working on daily basis. This is something you already know. You just need to be a little bit more organized. Right? So you set up unlimited numbers of document types that you can define the document. Each document type, you decide how many metadata fields you want to capture. I don't think we have time to go over everything today, but like I said, if you want to have more in-depth information about how FileHold set up and how to use FileHold, we can set up another session to talk more specifically to those areas. But for now, just keep in mind, when we define the document, we use document schema and metadata to help you classify them. And more importantly, every single metadata field is searchable. So if I want to find any forms that somebody just filled out, I can use all the metadata to quickly to find those documents. And we also have a document version properties that we control all the documents, and right-click, you can see, you can link document, you can send document to different places, you can publish document into different formats, set alerts, set reminder, copy, remove. All the functionalities are there within your right-click. Okay, so adding document into FileHold is very simple. I may have just a couple minutes to talk about this. First of all, you can use Inbox to throw a bunch of documents into FileHold. So for instance, I can just drag and drop a whole bunch of document into FileHold, and every time any document is being added into the inbox staging area waiting for processing, I only have to do two things. I need to tell FileHold what is the document, where does it go. So set metadata, this is where I mentioned earlier, you can create unlimited numbers of metadata field, and document schema rather, and to add those metadata fields. So now you can define this document, what type of document it is, and what are the elements or attribute of the document that you want to define and classify this document. Once you finish this part, you then tell FileHold where this document should be, right? So set destination, basically tell FileHold which folder this document needs to be sent to, and then you can file the document into the library. You can do this one at a time. You can do this many documents at the same time. So now when I highlight several documents, right-click, then I can define the document in mass. And when I send the document to the library, the same thing. I can send all the document to the folder at the same time. Right? Very, very simple and convenient. So using the inbox is just one of the ways to add documents. We also have the functionality for watch folder. Rather than manually adding those documents into the library, we can set up the watch folder, set up business rule, so FileHold is going to watch those folders. If there's any new documents coming to that folder, I can route them, bring them into the library automatically. For example, I'm watching my scanner right now, so if somebody down the hall go to the scanner, this is the scanner I'm watching right now, if somebody took the trouble, go to the end of the hall, scan something, put them into this scan folder, I don't have to walk there. I just have to wait for a few seconds, right? So when those documents being scanned to the folder, within a few seconds, FileHold is going to look around and see if there's new documents coming, right? So as you can see, they're right here. So when they come into the inbox, I can set metadata, I can set destination, or I can predefine a business rule and set everything's being scanned into this folder should be routed to one of the folder in the library. Everything coming here, they are whatever document type. So as you can figure out, basically I can set up both things. So what happens here is that we can tell FileHold to watch those folders. When there's something coming, bring them into my inbox, apply metadata, and send to the final destination automatically, and clean up after ourselves. So when the documents are in the library, there's nothing saved left in the original watch folder. All right, and not to mention, FileHold is going to send an email notification to you telling you that everything is done. Right? There are also many other ways you can do manage import, set up all the automations from the beginning to end. When you scan something, especially, you can set up those templates, and you can also set up the template to migrate document from your Windows shared folder system or from any other data source. There are many, many ways to bring those documents in. And the good news is everything I talk about so far, they're all standard features in FileHold system. And this is where FileHold shines, and our professional services team is going to come in and work with you to find every possible way to streamline your business process. Okay, so finally, I want to quickly talk about the search capability. As you can see, when I searched something earlier, I can use a very high-level keyword. So for instance, I can start searching something like, I'm looking for a policy, right? When I search on the policy, type in the keyword, FileHold is going to take the keyword, go across the entire database, and bring back results. When I do this kind of search, I don't care about my library structure, because when I search on a few different places. I search on my document schema metadata and make sure I have a match. And also look into my document version properties, or whether they have different versions, who's the owners, what's the status, where is the document locations, where the URL. If you have any retention policies set up, we also look into that part as well. The third area that we search is every word of every document. So if I select a document, click on Highlight Results, now you can see FileHold highlight a few places where we hit the keyword. So when I enter the keyword, I enter policy, but the search result comes back some additional information like policies. So built into our search engine, we have a few functions such as the Boolean logic. That's very basic. We have stemming words. If you put jump, it gives jumps jumping. And we also have fuzzy logic. Sometimes I'd and want or old and zero are very confusing. We'll bring back all the results just to make sure that we don't miss anything. We also support proximity search if you want to search the word dog. But the word dog has to be within 5 characters of cat. We can set up that kind of search as well. All right. Not only we look into the content, we also look at the property of the document. As you can see down here, we'll look into that area as well. We want to make sure that nothing is missed. All right. So different from the search engine, I mean, similar from search engine, first of all, we also give you the relevance, right? This one hits 100%, 50%, 34%, and so on. We give you a couple of pages. Sometimes you may have 5 or 10 pages, similar to the Google search engine, right? But what they don't give you is they don't give you additional filter, but rather in FileHold, we allow you to immediately add filter. So from here, you can add additional filter to quickly narrow down the search from the high-level search results. All right? And of course, one of the things you can do is you can save those search for future use, right? So the next day or the next week, next month, when you need to do similar kind of search, you don't have to come back and search again. All right. So I know we're almost up to the time, so I want to pause here and just let you know if you have any additional further interest of FileHold system, feel free to reach out to us and we can schedule another day and time for a private web demo, or join us on our regular public webinar. We have regular public webinar every first and third Wednesday of the month. From 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, or if you're in West Coast, it's from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., or if you